Today, let's sew the newest pattern in the Love Notions collection, Muse Blouse. Today I'm going to show you how I make my Muse blouse from start to finish using a lovely polka dot rayon challis. I'm going to be sewing the short sleeved skirted version of this adorable necklined shirt. I can't wait to show you all of the details and show you my whole process. Let's go. Before we get too far in, let's just remind you that the new Muse blouse just dropped from Love Notions, and it is currently on sale for $9.50, $3 off the digital pattern price. And for the first time ever, we're giving people the opportunity to do a print pre-order with this pattern release. So if you would like to get the print version, which includes all of the large format pages with all of the views and options printed for you, so no taping required or printing on your part required, you can get that on sale as well with our pre-order. And as soon as the pre-orders come in, we'll ship them right off to you, and it shouldn't be more than a few weeks. At this point in the process, I have taken my measurements and cut out my size for the pattern using the large format print. I'm going to be sewing a size medium, and I am going to be removing about an inch of length in the main bodice piece to reflect my proportions. I'm 5'2", and I have at this point also fused interfacing in like the block style for my collar pieces and that inset piece. So I find that it's easier for me to fuse the interfacing to the fabric itself before cutting instead of trying to cut the interfacing, cut the fabric. It's just easier for me to do it all at once, especially when I'm working with a slippery woven like a rayon challis. This is what block interfacing means. I've just taken a scrap of my interfacing, lined it up with the grain lines matching to my pressed fabric, and I'm going to be taking those pattern pieces and putting them on top of that to cut. I have a huge length of this fabric. I probably have at least 3.5 yards of this rayon challis. I think I got it from Alyssa May Designs. And with this type of rayon challis, I'm really glad that I did the block fusing. It was really helpful in cutting out the collar pieces for both the front and the back, as well as the facing piece. In order to make the fitting adjustments for my 5'2" height, I'm going to be cutting on the lengthen shorten line for both the skirt as well as for the bodice pieces on the front and the back. This skirt is one piece for both of the front and the back, so I'm just going to make the alterations to here by cutting and then overlapping these pieces. I'm going to do a 1/2 inch for the skirt, overlap that by 1/2 inch, and then also a 1/2 inch on the bodice. And then I'll straighten out those edges and true up those lines. This is a very simple adjustment that makes a huge difference in the way the garment fits and feels. You can also make alterations to where the bust dart is by making a box around this and moving that where you need it to be. This might make a big difference for people whose apex doesn't match up with the apex marking here. So I would suggest holding this pattern piece up to your body and then seeing where that apex point falls on you, and then cutting out a box and then altering it to where it needs to go. That can make a huge difference as well in the fit of your garment. Any other adjustments that you might need to make, and using the finished measurement chart is hugely important for that. For this pattern, there are a lot of measurements that we're able to give to help you find a fit that works great for your body. So I'm just gonna cut this out. And I also have placed my fabric. Most of the pattern pieces here are going to be placed on the fold to cut out besides the sleeve. So I also put the sleeve here just to make things a little easier for me in in the coming steps. And make sure to transfer all of the pattern markings. With Love Notions patterns, typically arm side markings that happen here, this is usually the front, like the single T is the front, the double T is the back, and then this is the sleeve head that matches up to the shoulder seam typically. So all of those markings, I'm going to need to give just a little bit right inside of the seam allowance. I'm just gonna cut in a little bit. A lot of people prefer to use a fabric marker or chalk or something, but I live on the wild side here. I like to use this clover wheel and then the clover Choco paper in order to mark my dart. Now that we have all of our pattern pieces cut out, including the collar, the main body, and the sleeve, and we've already fused the interfacing to the collar pieces, we're going to align the collar pieces right sides together and sew them at the shoulder seam. We'll set this guy to the side, and then right sides together, we're going to take our back collar aligned at the shoulder seam and straight stitch right in here. This pattern uses a 3/8 inch seam allowance. Typically find that seam allowance in huge print right around the first few pages of each pattern tutorial. As we sew these collar pieces, I am being really careful to get matching thread for my sewing machine, because while the interior sewn pieces like at the collar, at the shoulder won't matter as much, I am going to be sewing this facing, so I want to make sure that my machine is loaded with thread that matches perfectly. Now is also a great time to take your facing piece and use an overcast stitch or a serger to finish the edges. All right, let's mark our darts a little bit better. You might not be able to see that very well at all, but I can see where my dart is, and I'm going to match up right sides together the bottom legs of my dart, making sure that the marked parts match on both sides. And then I'm going to pin that right along the dart. I'm going to start at this bottom leg of the dart, and I'm going to decrease my stitch length as I get down this straight line and then end just off of the fabric. And then I'm going to leave long tails for me to tie. Here is my sewn dart. You can see that I have decreased my stitch length as I followed that line. And then off of the fabric, I've got my tails, and I'm going to tie those together. We're going to take this facing piece and align it with the V of our pattern front bodice piece, matching up all of these V's. We're going to pin that in and then use a straight stitch to attach. Now that's sewn on there with a straight stitch, I'm going to clip into the V all the way to but not through the stitching. Then we're going to flip this out and make the facing. Let's also grade this seam allowance here. Just give that a little bit of a trim so everything lays. Now that I've pressed, here is the reverse side with the facing, and here is the front side. I think I might skip top stitching this because it's laying pretty nicely, so I think I'm going to skip the top step of this and just let it hang. Skirt for the skirted version of the blouse, and we're going to sew 2 lines of basting stitches. That's a long stitch length. It's not secured at the edges on these 2 skirts, and then we're going to gather them in. So let's sew 2 lines of basting stitches at the top. Obviously, you would skip this step if you're sewing the balloon hem or the straight hem, but you're just going to run 2 rows of basting stitches across each skirt within that 3/8 inch seam allowance and leave long thread tails and use them to slide the fabric along those threads. And then you're going to align the skirt to the bodice, front and back, and then distribute those gathers evenly. You could also use clear elastic to do the gathering for this section. That usually results in really even, but whatever you do, you're going to want to make sure that all of those little gathers are facing the same direction so nothing gets caught up and puckered inside of this seam. You can attach it to the bodice front and give it a good press and make sure that you remove those. Then we'll just align the bodices front to back, right sides together at the shoulders, and then stitch serge. Next up, we're going to be working with the collared neck style. There is also a ruffle style that you can see examples of in our listing, but we're going to be talking about just the regular collared neckline. I've taken one of the collars and pinned it to the neckline, making sure that this marking right here is lined up with the edge of this opening. So there should be a little bit of an overhang. I've also matched up the shoulder seams as well as the center back with the center of the collar marking. It's really important not to overly stretch the regular neckline piece of the bodice because this collar piece has been interfaced. So you want to make sure that it's not stretched out and makes the collar application harder than it might be. I've also taken the other lining collar piece and I have sewn a 1/4 inch from the edge with a line of stitching, and I'm going to press this in like that. This is the collar lining piece. We're going to set this aside, but if you think it needs it, you could also clip into these curved edges if you feel like the fabric will behave a little bit better. I didn't really feel like I needed to with my fabric, but that could be an option for you. Now we're going to go ahead and stitch on the outer collar, the one without the stay stitching. We're going to go ahead and stitch that to the neckline, right sides together, making sure again that those seams and center back markings are all lining up. So the T markings should be lined up with the edge of the neckline on each side, and just go ahead and straight stitch that into place. And remember that the collar will overhang at the center front about 3/8 of an inch on each side. Press that seam up. Now let's finally attach the lining piece to the regular collar. So we're just going to align the collar lining piece over the main collar, right sides together, pin all along the top, and then if you need to, you might want to stretch just a tiny bit, but straight stitch that all on together and then clip into the curves. This can allow a little bit of tension to release so that when you fold this over, everything lays nice and flat. The collar lining to the inside of the blouse. Tuck everything in, including the seam allowance, and then you're going to press that collar really, really good. You could also stitch in the ditch to secure the lining, or you could hand sew it, but either way you need to be sure to attach the collar lining to the inside seam there. Sometimes when I'm attaching collars in this way, I like to kind of twist things a little bit, kind of shake it out with my fingers and put it into the place that I want it to be. Getting this collar aligned perfectly is more difficult, but definitely if you just work on it a little bit and kind of adjust it with your fingers, press it really, really good and top stitch it, it'll be great. Secure it, we're going to stitch on that inner lining piece. Again, you can either stitch in the ditch right there along that line, or you can hand sew it. I like to get everything aligned really perfectly by using pins, making sure that the front and back seams kind of all match. And then I will go ahead and use a straight stitch with my regular sewing machine, making sure that my thread is the exact same color just to keep everything looking professional. It's official. The hardest part is definitely done. So now all we're going to need to do is align the front to the back, right sides together at the side seams. And we're going to stitch serge this section right here. So just line it up right underneath at the arm side and then sew all the way down this straight seam. Next up is sewing the sleeves. Now there's 3 different kinds of sleeves. I'm just sewing there's the basic short sleeves, but there's also the lantern sleeve and the balloon hem sleeve. So the short sleeves are very simple. We're just going to sew down those side seams of the sleeves, and then we're going to sew 2 rows of basting stitches along the sleeve head. Rows of basting stitches are going to make it so that we can gather in and ease in the sleeves into the body of the blouse. The skirt, we're going to pull the fabric along that thread just to gather it in a little bit and then ease it into the body of the garment. We're going to want to make sure that the garment is inside out. And then we'll just make sure that each sleeve marking matches up with the markings on the body of the garment. So don't get your sleeve switched up here. Make sure you pay attention to those double T and single T markings. So that's a super easy, simple short sleeve install, but keep in mind there's also the balloon sleeve hem as well as the lantern sleeve, which is super fun. I have sewn mine all together here, and all I have left to do is to sew the hem on the sleeves and the body of the garment. And to do that, I'm just going to finish the raw hem with a serger, and then I'm going to fold up the hem 1 inch and top stitch in place with my cover stitch. There's lots of different ways to finish a woven hem. One of the things I love about sewing with this rayon challis is that it presses up so beautifully, but I just went ahead, serged, and then I'm going to go through and then top stitch it 1 inch up. After this sewing process, I can see many, many more Muse blouses in my future. I love this. I cannot wait to sew the rest of the versions, like the balloon hem or the straight version. I think that would make such a lovely blouse for just any time of the year where you just don't want to wear a sweatshirt all the time and you want to wear something that's a little cute and fun and unique. And I just think the Muse blouse fits so many different needs inside of a wardrobe. If you're familiar with our Rhapsody blouse pattern, a lot of people are saying this is kind of like the cousin for that, and I think it really is. So take a look at the Muse blouse and do not forget to get your copy during the release sale. It ends on Monday. So get your copy ASAP because you can actually get $3 off both the digital version and even the print version. Happy sewing, everybody.